to erupt in 261 sanctuary cities after Trump just dropped a weekend bomb on them. If you've ever spent any time around kids, you know that human nature, in its pure, unadulterated form, pretty much does whatever it wants until pain stops it. Meaning a kid might keep grabbing for a hot pan no matter how many times you tell him no, but unless you enforce your words or he gets burned, that kid will just keep going back. It's kind of the same with liberals. The stunned concept of consequences that has become so prevalent in the liberal, Democrat, and Green parties in the United States today means that they're totally disconnected from the results of their choices. If they're not willing to back down when the federal government tells them not to touch the hot stove, they're going to have to suffer some consequences. There are a lot of examples of this sad chain of events, but I'm talking today specifically about sanctuary cities. The government could wait until they pull a pot off and burn themselves head to toe, or they could add pressure and make them comply with the rules that will keep them safe. The Trump White House has made the executive decision that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and they're trying to fix this problem before the cities are completely lost. The Daily Signal reported the Justice Department's plan to deal with the problem of rogue cities who consider themselves above the law. The Department of Justice announced last week that sanctuary jurisdictions will lose access to certain federal law enforcement grants in 2017 if they prohibit officials from communicating with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, if they block ICE from interviewing jail inmates, or if they fail to notify ICE of the pending release of criminal aliens ICE is seeking to deport. These particular grants, known as the Burn Justice Assistance Grants, are the largest source of federal criminal justice funds for state, local, and tribal authorities. This move is helping fulfill one early promise of the Trump administration to impose consequences on those most egregious of the more than 300 sanctuary jurisdictions. Under the new rules announced by Attorney General Jeff Sessions, these four top grant getters, New York City, Cook County, Illinois, Los Angeles, and Philadelphia, are likely to be disqualified from these grants in the future if they maintain their current policies towards ICE. These cities received more than $10 million in grants in 2016. See the table below for a list of sanctuary jurisdictions that received Burn JAG grants in 2016. Sanctuary jurisdictions received $32.7 million in 2016. 10 sanctuaries are already at risk of debarment based on an initiative launched last year by Representative John Culberson, Republican of Texas, chairman of the House Appropriations Subcommittee that controls the Justice Department's budget. Basically, the only thing that's more important to these folks than their love of breaking the law and letting the illegals feel nice and comfy in their money, the cities in question get a certain amount of federal funding for various projects, and the Justice Department thinks they can starve them into compliance. Last year, the department notified 10 of the worst sanctuaries that their Justice Department law enforcement grants could be pulled if they did not come into compliance with the federal law prohibiting sanctuary policies. The jurisdictions are California, Connecticut, Cook County, Illinois, Chicago, Milwaukee County, New York City, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Miami-Dade County, Florida, and Las Vegas. A few months later, Miami-Dade County reserved its sanctuary policy and began cooperating fully with ICE. In April 2017, the Justice Department sent letters to 9 of the jurisdictions, all but Connecticut, reminding them that by a deadline of June 30th they had to send documentation of compliance with the law or lose certain funding and potentially face clawbacks of previously awarded funding. The documentation of alleged compliance is currently under review and the results are expected soon. Sessions has said their statements will be reviewed carefully. It is not enough to assert compliance. The jurisdictions must actually be in compliance. Last Tuesday's announcement makes clear that the Justice Department is not looking merely at bare minimal compliance with the letter of Section 1373, the federal law that prohibits policies that block communications between local officials and federal immigration agencies, which many sanctuaries dubiously claim to meet. It also signals that if a jurisdiction feels constrained by the legal controversies surrounding detainers, see discussion here, they can still demonstrate satisfactory cooperation by giving ICE 48 hours advance notice of criminal alien releases. The Burn JAG grants are one of 3 programs now off limits to sanctuaries. Last year, Culberson imposed requirements for basic compliance on the State Criminal Alien Assistance Program, which offers partial reimbursement for the costs of incarcerating illegal aliens, and the Community-Oriented Policing Grant Program. How much money is at stake in the Burn JAG program? The Trump administration reportedly is seeking $380 million for the program in 2018. That's a whole lot of money, no matter who's getting or not getting it. These programs are ones that the city is going to have to answer for if they no longer have the funding for, or they'll have to make up the difference out of their already burdened budgets. Here are the top 10 offenders and an estimate of the amount they receive annually from the federal government. And you can see up there, New York basically gets over $4 million there, you know, and California gets a little less than $2 million. So that's quite a bit. Oh, but there again, County of San Bernardino, that adds more money there. Well, they have to comply with the law, and the sanctuary cities, I mean, they comply with with ICE or just forget about it. They cannot get funding for this, the criminals, and how much it costs to have the criminals running loose also. It's a disaster. That's all I have to say. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And again,